George Soros interview where he admitted he was a Nazi collaborator. Let's take a listen.
All the financial titans and philanthropists of the 20th century, none are more complex or mysterious than George Soros. Like Carnegie, J.P. Morgan, and the Rockefellers, he amassed billions through ruthless business decisions, only to turn around and give away most of his fortune to advance his own personal philosophy. He can move world financial markets simply by voicing an opinion, or destabilize a government by buying and selling its currency. He also pledged more aid last year to help people in Russia than the U.S. government did. But now George Soros is worried. He thinks the global economy is coming apart at the seams and that the world needs to be protected from people like George Soros.
That's true.
We may now think that everything is fine, but the fact is that the system is broke.
And you broke it.
It needs fixing.
What you're doing is asking some form of regulation to protect the world against you.
Well, I am a player, and I think all players should be regulated. There have to be rules of the game.
Take 81,000 to buy. Buy 48,000. Buy him 69,000 YUM.
Right now, his Quantum Group hedge fund moves $14 billion of rich investors' money around the world every day, looking for profits and answering to no one. Soros makes huge bets on whole countries and economies. Last year, when he saw cracks in the Asia boom, he began selling the currency in Thailand. Traders in Hong Kong followed suit, triggering a financial crisis that plunged much of Asia into a depression.
In the last 2 years, you've been blamed for financial collapse of Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, Japan, and Russia.
Yeah, all of the above.
All of the above.
Wow, and he's proud of it. Look at that. This is one sick motherfucker. Look at that. He's got like Dracula teeth. He's a blood-sucking devil. Let's hear what he has to say again.
Yeah.
Are you that powerful?
No, I think there's a great misunderstanding.
The Prime Minister of Malaysia
Yes.
said that the region spent 40 years trying to build up its economy, and along comes a moron like Soros with a lot of money, and it's all over. He called you a criminal.
It's easier for him to blame an outside force.
He is a criminal. He's guilty of treason. Mass murder.
And then to admit that they were mismanaging their economy and their currency. The French finance minister talked about hanging speculators from lampposts.
Soros says the Asian currencies would have collapsed even if he hadn't been in the market. They were overvalued. He says people tend to follow his lead because he's been so successful.
Yeah, successful at destroying everybody.
Everything. I am basically there to make money. I cannot and do not look at the social consequences of what I do.
This man is a carnivore of the first order.
Jim Grant is the editor of Grant's Interest Rate Observer and one of Wall Street's most respected analysts. He never tires of watching Soros, in part because of the huge bets he's willing to place on the country.
He's always amazed the people he's worked with at his audacity and his willingness to back up his commitments with enormous sums of money. It causes the blood to drain from ordinary mortals' faces.
Like risking $2 billion in Russia. When the Russian market began falling apart in August, Soros was the country's single largest investor. He called the U.S. Treasury and asked Uncle Sam for $7 billion to prop up the ruble. When U.S. officials failed to intervene, Soros wrote a letter to the Financial Times of London saying he thought the Russian currency should be devalued by as much as 25%.
Wow.
A few words from Soros were enough to cause panic selling that fueled the crash.
What's it like to have a statement that you make have such serious, grievous consequences? I mean, you can... It looks to me like in a number of situations you can take a position against a currency or make a statement, and the whole country falls apart.
Well, it's a tremendous sense of responsibility, actually. And it's also a humbling experience because I am actually trying to do the right thing.
Ah, does he consider the right thing? Destroying countries? Wow. Everybody go grab your puke bags.
And sometimes what I do has an unintended negative consequence, as it did in Russia.
Everything you do has negative consequences. Alright? Everything you do.
For both the Russian middle class and for Soros, who lost his $2 billion.
Yay! Nice to hear he lost $2 billion.
Whatever his motivations, no one can accuse him of greed. He's backed away from the day-to-day.
Wait a minute. No one can accuse him of greed? He's one of the greediest people on this planet.
Operation of his businesses, and is giving away his billions now with the same determination that he made them in places like Haiti, a country that has less money in the bank than he does.
Oh, looky, who's here?
The First Lady with him for a look at some of the projects his foundation is funding.
This is Mr. George Soros.
Yeah. Wait a minute. We got Hillary Clinton and George Soros. Mr. and Mrs. Devil.
Helping the hospital.
Oh, I can't listen to this. This is where it gets to be bullshit. Alright. So I'm going to end this here. Basically, he admitted he was a Nazi collaborator. And I'm going to come up with a whole bunch of videos. Because people need to be awoken to what this man is capable of.